So this weekend we had birthdays. Both Bill and I were only 2 days apart, which is so great. We had a wonderful experience, and Bill made the brownies out of black beans and cacao and made it into a cake. So we have this beautiful little cake that we're eating and enjoying. And in our call, our community call, which we do every Saturday, people shared with us what's in their pantry, how they cook a meal with ingredients that they have in the house so they don't have to go to the market before making a meal.
And so there are kind of two categories that came out of that conversation. One is, what are the staples that are really useful to have in our pantry, in our refrigerator, and our freezer in order to cook whole food plant-based meals using the recipes that we have on our website and not having to make a grocery run. And then we also talked about the quick and easy, where you walk in the door and you want something to eat. You want to be sitting eating in 10 minutes. What's it take to do that? So why don't we start with the pantry that is the basis for being able to do the recipes?
Yeah, so first of all, we'll go to what's on the cupboard. We have onion, garlic, ginger. That's always a staple in our house. We have sweet potato yam, red skin potato or Yukon Gold potato. We have avocado. We have tomatoes on the cupboard shelf. Then in the fridge, we always have greens, a lot of greens that we can cook up. I usually use those for lunch. Kale, cabbage, bok choy, tatsoi, chard, spinach, beautiful. And then I have in the fridge carrots, of course. I like to have cauliflower, broccoli, string beans when they're available, beets. Right now I have parsnips in there also. And the one thing I forgot to tell you about on the cupboard is winter squash. Because the squash, the potatoes, the sweet potatoes really give us the feeling of fullness. They're so important. And in addition, we have a drawer full of whole grains that give that feeling of fullness. And also we have a drawer full of beans and lentils that give us a very high protein and plus the feeling of fullness. So I would say those are the main things. The one thing I left out that is really quick, and we always have it for dinner, is a beautiful lettuce. So we can have a salad in minutes.
Yeah. So that seems to be one of the common questions people ask us in transitioning to whole food plant-based is, how can I cut my time down in the kitchen? Because prepping whole foods takes more time than microwaving a frozen meal.
Yeah.
And so what Connie mentioned about the grains and the beans, we use an Instant Pot, and we have found that to be so time-saving.
Yeah.
So that's a pressure cooker that you just basically put your grains or your beans or soup, or you can do whole meals in it even, and you just put the top on, set the time, push the button, and walk away.
And it does all the work,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, so that makes life really simple. So we can even do that in the morning, and if we have to go out before lunch, we can have something waiting for us at home. So we walk in the door and it's ready to eat.
Yeah, because the neat thing about the Instant Pot is after your dish is cooked, it keeps it warm until you open it up and use the dish.
Yeah, it is to kitchen appliances, I think, what the smartphone is to communication.
Yeah,
it's fabulous. We love it. We love it. And so, yeah, that kind of brings us into this category of, if we walk in the door and we want to eat right away, what should we have in the pantry? What can we draw on that's in the pantry to be able to do that easily? And one of my favorites, I love Mexican food, as you've heard before, is I can just pop a can of refried beans open, put salsa on it, and then if I'm heating the beans, while those are heating for 2 or 3 minutes, I'll grab that lettuce and I'll wash those leaves, put some cherry tomatoes on it, I've got salad and a very, for me, satisfying meal in, we're talking 5 minutes.
Yeah, quick. And you often have cucumber and avocado. in
Well,
salad,
yeah,
too.
yeah. Or if I have the avocado, I'll put that in.
Yeah,
That's my
you are.
Mexican. Right. So, in talking with the graduate community yesterday, one of the other things that they said they do for the real quick and easy, walk in the door and eat, is to have a variety of frozen veggies in the freezer. So they've got beans, not beans, they could have string beans, corn, peas, mixed veggies, cauliflower, broccoli, and they can just take an assortment of those, put them in a pot, and again, you're eating a meal in 5 minutes.
Now, another thing you can buy frozen easily is frozen winter squash in cubes.
Oh.
So you can have that too.
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot there in that frozen section that can help set us up for saving time. And then again, while that's heating, we just go to our lettuce section, and if it's the triple washed spinach or baby greens, or head of romaine, we just get that ready to go while it's heating. And again, we're sitting and eating in 5 to 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
those are nice. One of our students was saying that she'll sometimes open a can of tomatoes, diced tomatoes or roasted tomatoes, and add that with the frozen peas and corn, say.
Or veggies, mixed veggies.
Mixed veggies, yeah.
Yeah,
and
it'd be
got,
very good.
a nice kind of soup out of that, throw some beans in, and you've got a stew.
Yeah, and you can find potatoes cubed. You could throw those in as well with a frozen.
Another thing that they pointed out was they will batch cook grains and beans. So rather than relying on things that you buy at the store, apparently there are some shelf-stable cooked grains now that you can buy in the store, but we don't have them here in Kelowna.
No, nothing.
Yeah. But, in New York City, apparently that's available. That's what one of our friends was sharing with us. And so you get the grains, and of course you get a lot of canned beans. But we find that there's really no substitute for cooking it ourselves.
Yeah, we love to cook it.
So with the ease that we've found in the Instant Pot, we can cook grain and beans, quite a bit. And then we freeze it in meal-sized portions for ourselves. The people that work with us that are single, they put it in single portions. We usually put it in double portions. And so they just freeze that. So we batch cook ahead of time our grains and our beans. And the other thing that they do is if they're making a meal they really like, they make extra so that they can freeze some.
Yeah.
So again, if they have that day, lunch, dinner, where they want a really quick meal, they just have to thaw a frozen meal that they made before, and you're getting the vitality and the deliciousness of a homemade meal instead of the canned things.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like with soup or beans or lentils or a whole grain meal that we'll make, if we have extra after we've had it 2 or 3 days, we freeze that, and then that makes a quick side for dinner with a big salad.
Yeah, we've mentioned that before, how we don't necessarily freeze the extra food that we made from a big meal. The next day we swing it with adding some frozen corn or peas or cauliflower or rice.
Yeah.
And it makes it a very different meal. But again, there's no prep time. It's just heating it with these added veggies or grains or beans. And it's like a very new, fresh meal. Yeah. So the one other thought that came out of our call is that there are some real quick meals that we can put together if we give it a little forethought. And the forethought for me is like, I love the sweet potato bowl that's on our website, but it means cooking a sweet potato. So if I know that's what I would like, and I'm busy right up until I want to eat dinner, I'll bake that sweet potato ahead of time. And so I just put it in my toaster oven that has a timer, and all I have to do is cut that sweet potato in half, put it on that silicone mat or parchment paper, put it in, set the timer, walk away. And when it's time for dinner, I come, it's baked, I put that on the bottom of the bowl, and everything else in that recipe is fresh or a can of beans. I open a can of beans and I just have to dice a tomato, a little bit of onion. Oh, that's the other thing with my sweet potato bowl. When I bake the sweet potato, I also take the frozen mango out of the freezer
And let it thaw.
because I love that mango ingredient in that sweet potato recipe. So a little bit of forethought sometimes can really eliminate the need to spend much time in the kitchen prior to having a wonderful meal.
So, recipe.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we spent time in India, and one trip that we made to Pune, we would eat what they made, which was heaven, a biryani dish. And that's a mixture of brown rice, a lot of veggies, cauliflower, potato, carrots, tomato, peas, and raisins and cashews. It is so good. So we'll give you the recipe. Give it a try. It's a little more complex in that it has more ingredients than many of the recipes we share, but this one is a good one. We had it yesterday for lunch. We'll have it today again for lunch, and we'll probably have enough to freeze some for a side at one of our dinners. So that is a worthwhile effort.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you next week.